Hello, everyone. My name is Ben Griffin. I am the Director of Community Development at the Canon, and I'm here with Spencer Randall, one of my good friends. And we are here today to talk to you a little bit more in depth about Bitcoin and the world that it exists in today. So, Spencer, tell me a little, what is Bitcoin? What makes it so special? And why is it the number one cryptocurrency right now?
Yeah, Bitcoin is the first mover as far as cryptocurrency is concerned. It's a blockchain that's been in existence for over 10 years, and it's really proven itself through the decade. It is the most resilient, most secure blockchain in existence, and the market has really decided that Bitcoin is a digital store of value, and it's really found its lane as a digital gold.
Yeah. With it being the sort of the first mover and the introduction for a lot of people into cryptocurrency, is there going to be a next Bitcoin, or will Bitcoin continue to always be that gold standard?
There's been dozens and dozens of forks or copies of the Bitcoin project. When something attempts to copy Bitcoin, it can copy the code base, but it can't copy the community and the network effects that have built around the Bitcoin brand. And so what you've seen as projects have tried to copy Bitcoin over the past decade is they don't succeed, or they often don't realize Bitcoin's level of success, because Bitcoin has built a moat around a digital store of value, a digital gold for the world. So things have tried and tried and tried to copy what Bitcoin is, but Bitcoin has proven to be resilient.
So speaking of these sort of copycats, can you explain the difference between Bitcoin, its copycats, and then the thousands of other cryptocurrencies that are out there today?
Yeah, so Bitcoin is a proof of work blockchain, which means that energy is used through a mining network to secure the blockchain. So that's one key difference. There's other ways to reach consensus and secure the network. So that's one thing that makes Bitcoin different. Another thing that makes Bitcoin really stand out relative to the competition in the digital store of value use case is the size and scale of the network and the thousands and thousands of nodes that operate on the Bitcoin network. So the sheer network effects, volume, the number of nodes, the number of people that are participating in the mining and securing of Bitcoin make it different.
Is that just because it's been around for longer than other? So that's why it has more nodes, is because it's been around and more people have been solving these equations on the network?
Yeah, I would say that the first mover advantage is key. I would also say the resilience and the brand of Bitcoin and the thousands of people that are technically inclined that were here in the early days and still believe in Bitcoin. So the community, the first mover advantage, the simplicity and elegance of the Bitcoin solution, all of those things I think tie together to continue to propel Bitcoin for decades to come.
And so what about these copycats? Like, I remember the days, and maybe it still exists, of Bitcoin Cash. I mean, what was the idea behind that, and why did it sort of gain a lot of popularity, and now I don't really hear about it that much?
Yeah, so Bitcoin Cash is a great example of a fork of Bitcoin. I would say one of the most noteworthy forks of Bitcoin. It's still in existence today. It's still a relatively secure blockchain. Now, its mission, as a Bitcoin Cash, was to restore the original narrative in Bitcoin, which was peer-to-peer electronic cash.
Got it.
Now, Bitcoin has since found a lot of product market fit in its narrative as a digital gold. And so there really hasn't been that need for that digital cash
right. That makes
aspect, where Bitcoin Cash came online early 17, I believe.
Yep, that's when I was looking at it.
The vision was to restore the digital cash aspect. But some of the things we can get into in other segments would be why we don't feel a digital cash in Bitcoin Cash brings as much utility to the world. I think that other things are coming online that can do that in a more effective way.
Got it. So with Bitcoin having that early narrative and now has the narrative of being this digital gold, I remember the days when Bitcoin was being talked about early on as sort of a use case for a lot of criminal activity on the internet and being used on the dark web. Is there still any merit to that, or what does that look like in today's world now?
Yeah, if you feel confused about what Bitcoin is, I don't blame you. There was a point where I felt really confused about what Bitcoin is. It's had over a half dozen narratives over the years. And one of those narratives was something that was used on the dark web, and that it was really born and meant to be used on the dark web. And it's grown and evolved so much since then. And so for anyone hypothetically that's looking to do illicit activities, I would say that Bitcoin is actually a really poor choice And this is a popular misconception because everything that happens on the Bitcoin blockchain can be traced. It's a popular misconception that it's completely anonymous. That's just not true. And so just like CryptoEQ is building venture and rallying around this idea of disciplined, responsible digital asset research, there's companies that are building venture around how to best track things on the Bitcoin blockchain.
It seems counterintuitive to use it for any sort of criminal activity.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, so another key complaint that some people have about Bitcoin, and I'd love to hear what you have to say about this, is that it's contrary to the green movement. A lot of people are mining it and using lots of energy and resources to mine it. And so is it against the green movement, or is it sort of a push for renewable energy use case?
Yeah, it's another really popular misconception, something we get a lot. I'd like to make 2 points there. When you think about mining Bitcoin and all of these thousands of systems that are working together to secure the Bitcoin blockchain around the world, mining is extremely competitive. You have to be very, very responsible about how you source your energy so that your operations are profitable. And 2 things that happen there is a lot of mining energy is sourced from renewables, because renewables actually can be a cheaper price per kilowatt hour.
Mm-hmm.
So there's mining facilities in Texas that are almost solely operating off of renewables to power their mining operations and make them competitive on the global scale. Another thing that people do with mining is they source from waste. So you have natural gas sites throughout the country, throughout the world, where the gas is there's waste gas that cannot actually be used for shale and natural gas energy production. And so there's companies that are building mining sites that can be deployed on site to these energy sources, and the waste can be burned off and converted to something that's economically viable in Bitcoin, so that you have waste that can be used to help secure the Bitcoin network.
So from what I'm hearing, you need to be very efficient when you're trying to set up a mining operation. And then 2, these waste sites, what does it look like to try and set up a mining operation on these waste sites? I mean, what are the other resources that you need to get one going?
Yeah, three key things pop up. You'd want to deploy an intermodal shipping container that's set up and ready to mine. You'd need a generator to convert the waste natural gas to energy that could be used to power the Bitcoin miners. And lastly, an internet connection and great people to help ensure the operation is successful.
Sounds simple enough.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that does it for us. Thank you very much for watching, and trade safe.